I remember being like an early teenager and like I always thought to myself, how do people it might sound a bit bad in it, but I was young, like I was literally 13, I just hit puberty, my balls just dropped. I I thought to myself, like, how do people actually have like mental health problems? Like, how do you not have control over your mind? If that's the one thing you have control over is your mind. And when I grew up, like, I never really had any mental problems. Like I said, I just didn't really understand depression. Like, is it because people just struggle with how life treats them? I just thought like if you can't control your mind, then what can you control? And I'm not saying it in like a bad way, or I'm just trying to, put people with health problems in a bad light. Like that's not the case. This is just my understanding when I was younger. I didn't know any better. And throughout my whole teenage years, I never really suffered with any mental health problems. I remember I got my first physical job, my first hands-on job, because the jobs I had before that was kind of, it wasn't too hard in terms of intensity. I got my first actual, hands-on working like a dog, and like it was flipping hard. Like this was a warehouse job, imagine. And people before I had it, like I thought, oh, it's easy, you just lift shit the whole day, like, and I'm getting paid to do that, like that's light work. That's what I thought, right? And it still sounds like that to a lot of people. And like I've never made that much money before that. Like I said, I'm 19. I've just come out of college. Considering to go to university, I don't know what I'm really trying to do with myself. And I knew I didn't really want to stay at a warehouse for that long in terms of I don't want to be there until I'm 25. But I was happy to stay there for a good couple of years before I was even there. Like I had in my mind, like, bro, I'm gonna do the easiest job in the world and get paid over £1,000 a month and just pay for whatever I want. I can just do whatever I want. For me back then, getting paid 1,300, 1,600, however much it was, like that was good money. Like I've never had that much money. Like I said, like the past couple of jobs before that, I was getting paid £4.25, and the job after that, I was getting paid £9. But then I was doing like 20 hours. So imagine I'm going from basically like less than £600 a month to over over double that. First actual job, like I literally got 20 hours in a week, and it was part time, but like within, and even though it was part time, and I had college, 20 hours was decent. But I'm getting paid £30 a week, so I never really knew what it was like to have a little bit of cash when I was in my teens until my first warehouse job, and I was excited, bro. Like I said, I'm ready to, just get my hands on just doing the most simplest shit in the world. After like my first week, I hated that shit, man. Like I was like, bro, like there's no way. Like I thought this was so easy. But what happens is that when you do a job so easy, and I want to give, if I can advise one of you, I feel like I've done a good job here. If you go into a job and it sounds so easy for you, just know that's probably going to be one of the hardest jobs that you do. The reason for that is because when you do a really easy job, your brain doesn't really think. You don't use your brain anymore. So what happens when you don't use your brain? Your brain just starts wandering anywhere. It can go anywhere. So imagine I'm doing this simple job. I'm just picking up cartons of milk, cartons of drinks, cokes, Fantas, heavy stuff, right? It doesn't sound heavy, but like when you got like four of them in a packet, that shit's heavy. Some of it was light, some of it was just like packets of crisps and other stuff. You don't necessarily use your brain doing that. And what happens is that you overthink. Your brain goes elsewhere, and your brain is just in la la land to the point when you're doing your job, but you don't even realize you're doing your job. Have you ever drove your car and you're just wondering? Because driving doesn't feel like driving anymore. Driving to you now is just getting to A to B. But when you first started to drive, driving was putting gear one into two, putting the foot clutch down, looking into the mirrors. I'm not saying you don't do that, because we all still do that. But the definition of driving has now changed for you because you've been doing it for so long. And it didn't take me long to understand what I need to do in that job. It was the easiest shit in the world, but it's so hard to have any control over your mental health, because the job you're doing is easy, but your mind is just going elsewhere. It's going wherever it wants, and you start thinking about random shit. And that's when I started struggling with some sort of overthinking. I couldn't stop thinking now because the stuff that I'm doing now is so easy. It allows my brain to just do some shit. And I stuck in that job. And I remember I did some walks. I tried meditating, and part of that was going for walks, going for runs. I was already training in the gym. And like, it was quite helpful. But then as soon as I go back to that place, it's just back to square one again. That job taught me a lot of life lessons. That job literally taught me, like, there was grown ass man and there was grown ass women in that job, literally just trying to pay for their mortgage or their rent, and they had no other option. There was literally one time when there was this girl who literally, it was her first date and she just started crying. And to someone that might just seem like, oh, she's probably just crying because she doesn't know what she's doing and she's probably confused already. No. Do you know how I saw that? I saw that as, this is her new reality. She's got no other option. She's got stuff to pay for. She's grown ass. She has no other option but to work this shit job for a good, potentially for the rest of her life. Because there was someone in there who said, I've been in there for 20 years. I was 19 when I first went in there. Someone told me he'd been in there for 20 years. I'm thinking, bro, you've been there and I wasn't even born yet. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that. And that guy stunk, man. And like, I don't really blame him because it's probably just his clothes. A lot of times people just smell because they're just wearing the clothes, because you have to wear a uniform. People are stuck in working these type of jobs, and I didn't want to be a part of that job. I come to realize eventually, sooner or later, I need to get control of my thinking. If I'm an overthinker now, but I wasn't an overthinker before, so what's now changed? The job, I had to change my perspective of working at that job. My mind isn't busy, so it made itself busy and just basically floated wherever it wanted to go. I now created like a new mindset of how to control my mind and how to not just be wondering. Like, if I saw like a bottle of water on the side, I'm thinking about who touched that bottle, and then I'm thinking about, oh, what person, where's he from, or where did he come from, what time did he start his shift, what area does he live in, and it's just like a trail of thoughts. And I know a lot of people suffer with that as well. Like, you don't realize it just subconsciously comes to you. But once you realize and you've accepted, right, this is my new reality, I can't stop overthinking. That doesn't mean that you can't like get out of it, because I got out of it and it was easy than you think. If you tell yourself it's gonna be hard, then it's gonna be hard. But the reality is that like, you, at the end of the day, like, you control your own mind, and that's the only thing that you really can control. And that's the problem. That's the thing that people don't realize. You can control your mind, but you can't control other things in life. You can't control the past. You can't control the future. Whatever's done in the past, you can't control that. Whatever you're going to do in the future, you can't stop doing. You can't stop that. Essentially, there's certain things in the future that's going to happen. You can't stop. So why are you now worried about certain things in your life that you have no control over? It don't make any sense, and you're stressing yourself over it. You have to just let things just happen and play out. And the things happen in the past, you just have to accept it. There's no point going playing it over in your mind every single day. Like, you're not going to get anywhere. The way you talk to people, this is what you can control. The way you show your energy to other people, that is something that you can change. You can talk nicer to people. You can talk more aggressive to people. This is all in your control. This is within your barrier. So once you've realized what you can control and what you can't control, then you'll be more content with your mind, and your mind won't start floating around, because when your mind floats around, it's probably just thinking about the past and the future, and they're things you can't control. So once you've realized what you can control, then your mind will be in a better place, and like, the meditation that you've tried will actually work this time. You have to change your mindset. Once your mindset's changed, then you'll be good, and your brain will literally be like thanking you, like, thank you for doing that. But if you can't seem to control the thoughts in your mind, past and future, people's opinions, which you can't literally, you have no say in that, like, you can't change how someone views you, then you're going to be stuck. You have to accept that there's certain things you can't change. And there's a book that I've been reading, and it's funny because what it says is, failure is trying to please every single person around you. And it makes 100% sense. You just can't do it. You can't please everyone. And if that's what you're trying to do, then you're going to be stuck overthinking for a very long time. So once you've learned that this is out of your control, and you've learned the stuff that you can control, then you're going to be in a better place. So try to control your mind in the right sense, control your thoughts better.